All right, we're moving on to prep test number 67 and game number 1. And in this game, we have a group of students that are delivering speeches, and the speeches have different topics, and the students have different majors. So here we have our list of students. Here we have the topics, F and L, and here we have the majors. And the instructions are kind enough to let us know that 2 of the students major in G, 2 of the students major in H, and 1 of the students majors in J. So a lot of sets of variables at first. But once you start reading into the rules and the questions, what becomes apparent in this game is that they're not really looking for us to work much with these guys, with the actual students. In other words, they basically just tell us that the students are M, N, O, P, and R, and we don't have to arrange them or sequence them in any manner. So what this really becomes is a matching game where we're just trying to figure out which student majors in what and delivers a speech on which topic. So I've set this up basically as a matching game here. So let's go ahead and dive into our rules. So the first rule tells us that exactly 2 students speak on topic F. So 2 Fs. If exactly 2 speak on F, then the remaining 3 must be Ls. So there's our first inference. The next rule tells us that a geology major and a history major speak on friendship. So that means that we're going to see F over G and F over H. We're going to see at least one of each of those. Next, they tell us that M speaks on topic F. So we can just go ahead and write in an F here above M. Next rule, R speaks on topic L. So we go over to R and we can put an L there. Neither P nor R is a geology major. So in the P and the R, if they're not geology, we can determine that they are either H or J. But we don't know which. And lastly, N is a geology major. So in N's section here, we can write a G. So they've given us quite a bit of information for this game. As for inferences, we already know that we have an FG and an FH. We know that we have 2 Fs. So our Fs are taken care of. The remaining 3 must be Ls, and it must be 1 LG, 1 LH, and 1 LJ. So not a lot of mystery to how we're going to be completing this chart. As for limited options, there is a couple of different things, but there's one in particular that stands out. Looking at this P and R situation here, we know that we have 2 H's and a J, and of those 3, 2 of them are occurring right here. So there's really only 2 possibilities here, which is that P and R are both H, both history majors, or that one is history and one is journalism. So let's make that the basis for our limited options and see how far that gets us. So here's our limited options page, and here are our 2 diagrams. In the first one, first of all, let's get our basic facts in here so we know that this is a G. We also know that this is an F, and we know that this is an L. In our first option, we're going to assume that both P and R are history majors. In our second one, we're going to assume that one is history and the other is journalism. Let's see what that tells us about our charts. So up here, we need an FG and an FH, right? We also need an LG, an LH, and an LJ. Well, we have our LH, so that's gone. I should not cross that out. Sorry, let me erase that. I'll just kind of give it a light line. Whoops, sorry about that. Give it a light line there. So we have an LH. The only other H that we can have is paired up with an F, so that must be an F. The only place that we're able to write an LJ in is right there. And what we're left with, so we have LH, LJ, and FH, is an LG and an FG, meaning that this must be our L and this must be our G. We've been able to complete the entire chart. Now when we come down here, what can we do? Well, unfortunately, we don't know a lot about what's in these two spaces, so we cannot absolutely identify any of our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets right here. So the best that we can do is say if one of these is an H and one of these is a J, then we're also going to have an H or a G here, and a G or an H here. Okay, so they're basically pairs. This pair is going to be 1H and 1G. This pair is going to be 1H and 1J. So there's our limited options, and now we are ready to tackle the questions.